Yo, what is going on everyone? GuidingLight here, and in this video, I want to talk to you guys about this assault rifle in which I have gotten extremely high DPS on. Now, I want to talk to you guys about exactly how it is I've gotten to this DPS level and show you exactly how you can replicate this build for this weapon. Now, with this weapon, I've been able to get through just about any mission in the game. I really suggest you guys watch this video all the way through because it will explain a lot that has to do with these weapons. You can apply this to any weapon in the game. However, this is one that I've found to be one of my favorites, one of the best overall weapons when it comes to taking out missions, bosses, for mobility, literally just about everything. And so I highly suggest that if you've been struggling or if you already have this weapon started, that maybe you tried to either copy or replicate some of the things in which I have done to it, as it has really made this game a ton more enjoyable. I can tear through just about any hard mode mission. When it comes to bosses, I'm doing way more damage. I'm doing over 3 million damage per clip, which when you really think about it is absolutely insane. Now the perks that I'm running are going to vary. I'm going to show you guys a few different builds. If you want to slow it down, you can read what every single individual mod does, but I'm not going to bore you guys with going over every tiny little stat. So that's my first build. Now on this second build, I have this perk on. It says when attacking enemies inflicted with burn, firearm ATK plus 26%. And so I've decided to stack that up with burn damage because if I go up against an enemy that's weak to fire or burn, I slot that in. Another thing to keep in mind with this weapon before we talk about anything else is that I do have these specific rolls on it. Now keep in mind, these rolls are really actually not that great. So this weapon is only half the capacity, half the damage output that I could truly be at. And so I wanted to make this video now and show you how it is I've been able to get about 500,000 DPS on it so far, depending on the mods that I've put out on it. Now, when I take it into a few different missions, you're going to see just how easy it is to take out all these enemies, which would normally be much harder to take out. Now, you won't be able to take this into an intercept battle and take down one of the big hard mode bosses in like one clip. It's not to that point just yet. In the future, I do have plans to try to make a build where it will be that good. But for now, this is more of the best overall weapon to use. And I highly suggest using it in literally just about every single activity. There's literally not a mission that I go in without having this weapon on me at this point. Now, the Tamer, you guys probably haven't heard a lot about the Tamer and how good the Tamer is. And to be fair, it's a great weapon. I, however, just really don't like it. The mobility of it is way too low. And I find this weapon overall to be a much better. So as you can see, I'm literally shredding through this boss. Every bullet I do is doing between 150k, 200k when you stack together the chill damage. Now, depending on the roll you have, I've gotten this up to over 300k damage per second or 300k damage per shot fired. And as you can see, this boss just gets absolutely melted, especially when you hit with the precision damage. Now, even when using an ultimate descendant, I find this weapon has gotten so strong now that it is literally stronger than any skill, any ability that you can use. There's certain descendants where you take out your own accelerated weapon, like let's say Freyna, for example. Her entire ultimate is that she pops out an assault rifle, which has like a 60 round mag, and it does bonus damage. This weapon, it does 3 times the amount of damage that Freyna's ultimate does, meaning that it's basically like running around with Freyna's ultimate at all times. So I just want to give it some absolute real world testing. So this is a different role I decided to spin up on it that I showed you guys at the beginning. This is the one that is going to allow you to get over 300k DPS per bullet once it's spun up. Now this is the weapon perk that gives you bonus ATK for every precision hit that you get. And you'll see it once it's spun up, it does over 300k DPS. Now I did mention earlier that the rolls I have or the perks I have on this weapon are not that great. And the reason for this, that at least I believe in, is because the clip size of this weapon is a little too small. I had a different roll. I've been doing my best to try to re-roll it to something perfect. However, it just takes luck and I ran out of materials for right now. Now, I'm definitely going to make another video in the future when I finally do get that god roll and everything slotted up. We're going to probably get this thing up to over 800k DPS. I really am hoping to get it to over 1 million DPS here in the next couple days. So stay tuned to the channel if you want to see what I'm able to do to this thing over the next few days. So I had a better roll before the one I'm running now, where it actually had a 45 round clip. That when I had that roll on it, it would absolutely melt through because with the perk that I'm running, every precision hit stacks up more and more damage. And so the higher the clip size, the better. Now there's also certain mods you can put in which will increase your clip size. However, I've chosen to switch it up for the mod that actually increases my reload time. This way I have more options, but either one will really work. Now, all you guys have to do in order to replicate this damage output and be able to take on these bosses is this easily. Like, you can actually see just how good this weapon is when you're going up against these Greg clones. or any of these bosses that do this damage phase where they throw up these orbs, you literally tear straight through them as if they're almost not even there. If you can get uninterrupted damage out for about 2 to 3 seconds on these, you'll literally take them out every single time. With this weapon, it has absolutely changed the game for me right now and made going through these hard mode missions way, way, way more enjoyable. And I highly suggest you guys go out and get this weapon as well. Now, in order for it to do this damage, all you have to do is get the weapon, begin to level it up as fast as you can. What you'll want to do is you'll have to get some crystallization catalysts. You're going to want to slot those crystallization catalysts into the weapon. Now, I've already made a bunch of videos on how you can get this weapon, how you can get crystallization catalysts, things like that. But what I haven't mentioned in any videos before is that I finally managed to get this thing up to slot in 6 additional sockets. Now, you can get up to about, I do believe, 10 sockets, meaning that this is only 60% of what the overall outcome of this weapon will be once it's fully built. So another thing you want to keep in mind is when you take a look at this weapon, you come over here to the right side, you'll notice 6 sockets applied. We'll take another look at the mods that I'm using. I've got 2 different builds here. The first is the fire build, and then second is the overall precision build, which is extremely good for bosses. Only thing is that you need to increase your clip size, which is something I'm still working on. Now, when you go to assign these mod sockets, all you have to do is you have to have a crystallization catalyst. You go into this mod cycle, and then you start to slot in the mods sockets that align with the mods that you want to use. Now, depending on the build you go for will depend on which sockets you want to put in which slot. These are the ones in which I chose because they fit the build that in which I'm going for, which is overall missions, and then also another build that has that precision damage for when I go into bosses. So overall, guys, like I said, this is only actually 60% of the overall weapon and what will be at down the road. Now, I was able to get this level or this weapon up to the level 6 crystallization in as little as a day. You may think it would take forever to get your weapon up this high. However, I've made guides on how you can power level these weapons up. You can get from proficiency level 0 all the way up to proficiency 40 in as little as like 30 minutes, maybe an hour, and then just simply slot right back in another catalyst. You can build this weapon up in as little as a day or two. Now, stay tuned to the channel. I'm going to be making more guides on other weapons once I power them up, show you just how strong they are, how good they are, whether they're really worth the grind. As of right now, I'm still working on trying to max this thing out so we can see just how good it will be once it's fully built. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think it's better than the Tamer so far? Overall, I think this is definitely my favorite weapon in the game. One of the easiest to achieve if you want to go and grind this out for yourself. It's definitely going to be one of the easiest builds to replicate with this weapon. You can take down elites in seconds, take down just about any enemy you need to in seconds. The weapon does incredible precision damage and even just damage overall. You can hip fire with it. It's got great mobility. The only downside realistically is the clip size or maybe the reload, which can all be fixed by simply either re-rolling it or slotting in some extra mods. So I really, really suggest getting this weapon. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and this overview, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.